Hey, and we should be live. I'm Josh here from Liberty Meat Solutions. You can find us, if you haven't found the stream on YouTube or somewhere else, live.libertymeat.solutions. We're on YouTube, Odyssey, Float, Telegram, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, so all of the things. And we're going to have the audio version of this podcast out at podcast.libertymeat.solutions and primarily fountain.fm. So go check that out. And if you haven't played with it, play with it. Learn how to use Lightning and all the tipping stuff in there. You can tip with Lightning by that QR code up in the corner. We were just discussing that here before we went live. There's a ton of ways to do it, though. So if you want to go around to renegadebutcher.com, you can actually buy stuff with Lightning, even if you don't have Lightning now. And when you go to checkout, it gives you a list of all of the wallets. Thank you, Brian. It gives you a list of all of the wallets and ways you can do it, even Cash App, and you could pay that way and kind of get it on the ground floor. And stop being afraid of using it, because it is the financial future and you should learn how to do it now. Anyways, I mentioned the Tip Lightning QR. As far as the whole Renegade Butcher type thing goes, we're getting closer with that. I've been talking with the spice people. They're working on the recipe type thing. I should be getting samples hopefully here in the next couple of weeks, and maybe getting somebody interested in a big bulk buy of it. And if that works, great. But on top of that, on the website, if you don't want to wait for seasoning for whenever we get this stuff launched, we've got merch now. There's some fun stuff. I'm going to see if I can share my screen and see if it will let me do that. I am new to the whole StreamYard thing, so give me a moment. I've got a window here opened, and this bad boy, yeah, okay, that's totally what I wanted to share the entire thing. Hold on, go back to StreamYard. Yep, there it is. I've got that as a t-shirt, so if you want something like that, I've got a t-shirt, a hot pad, flags, all kinds of fun stuff like that. And if you feel really adventurous, you can get those as undergarments. So that right there is all being paid for only in crypto, primarily, if you can, Bitcoin Lightning. So you all can learn how to use this, and we can kind of fund this thing and get it going. So if you have any questions on it, give me a shout, or Brian over here, because we've been bouncing this whole Bitcoin Lightning thing back and forth between us. So that's not what we're talking about mostly today, but we've been playing with it a lot. So everybody in both of our channels, we've been trying to promote this, and it's not because we've got some kind of finance invested in this. I think we both kind of shelled money out of our own pockets just to help people get started, but it's going to be the thing. So check it out, and don't be like, stop being so 1990.
Stop being so 2020.
So 2020, gosh. So anyway, we've got Brian Aleksivich here from the, and sorry if I murder your name, but all right, gotcha. He's from the Lots Project, Happy Hills Homestead, and they've got a bunch of stuff going on. But I'm not going to jump in there. I'll let you introduce yourself and tell everybody who you are, what you guys do, and what ended up bringing you here.
Oh, well, my name's Brian Aleksivich. My wife Corey and I had Happy Hills Homestead. Actually, we're still here, but been up in central Minnesota homesteading for about 8 years, and just went through the whole gamut of doing everything. We did chickens and meat chickens and layers, and meat chickens, layers, turkeys on pasture, and rabbits and quail and hydroponics and gardens and everything, and sold stuff, and
all
had
of the things,
all sorts of side hustles, and worked full-time jobs, both of us, the whole time. And at one point we just got sick of the cold and struggling through winter with all the livestock and all the different chores and how hard it gets and how hard it is on the animals and the short growing season. And we said, we're done. Like, we got a snow in October that snowed in our turkeys out on the pasture. And I was just like, no, fuck this, man. We're done. We're going somewhere that it's warm. And
so the air doesn't hurt your face half the year.
Yeah. It's just, it's easier. Like we ended up like right now we're looking at zone 7, and it's like 100 days more a year growing season than where we are. We're like a zone 3B. We're in this little microclimate in Minnesota. Like, it's just stupid.
I'm in like 8B. So I can't imagine. I mean, I grew up Iowa, Illinois, right on the border, so I know what a Minnesota winter's like. We had those when we had Texas summers, Corn Belt, complete crap
Right.
weather. I cannot. I mean, I dabbled a little bit while I was up there, but we were mostly stuck in town, and trying to get out and find some land out in the country was just almost impossible because everything up there is huge ag land, like $1,000,000 an acre. Even back then, like we're talking like a decade ago, and ended up getting to Texas because cheap land. And yeah, it's so nice being able to grow stuff 9 months. Now, the worst for us, it's the heat. I mean, there's stuff you can't grow lettuce half the year here because
Right.
it's hot as shit. You know, it's all going to
Yeah, we're
bolt
looking.
immediately. Like we're done now. If you're doing like cold weather crops like lettuce, broccoli, we're done. We're already over. It's toast. You guys are just putting seeds in the ground. So
Yeah, our last
it's a
frost
whole
was
different
last
world.
week.
And that short growing season, and then I can raising animals. I mean, you've got it easier with animals. Animals can take a lot more, but I can't imagine trying to deal with hauling water and feed and everything like that with freaking snow drifts and everything like the winters where I grew up. Nah,
Yep.
screw that.
Yeah,
I mean,
man,
a
like
lot of
having to
folks have
plow,
to, but
having to plow down the hill with the four
oh
wheeler
man,
to get to do chicken chores in the morning when it's
having to
it's only
plow your
light.
driveway just to be able to even leave your house
Oh
and
yeah,
deal with
yeah,
all of the chores that have to be done
yeah,
morning
yeah.
and night, no matter what. It doesn't matter how bad the weather is. Stuff dies if you don't do your thing.
Yeah, I was lucky enough. My neighbor did my driveway. Like he
Right.
just did all like we live on the end of a dirt road, and there's three of us here, and like he just took care of all of them, so it was really nice. But like he
Right.
couldn't do like down the hill to our barn where I'm not walking through waist deep
Right.
freaking snow, and
Oh,
it's
no.
it's dark because you're doing it before work, so it's 4 a.m. and it's pitch black. You got a headlamp on, walking through this waist deep snowdrift. It's like
I bet if you asked really nice, Tim would send you some snowshoes.
I
He's got
had
to
them.
have them. I mean, he's
Oh no, I
yeah,
had
there you go.
them.
Right.
Yeah, we used to snowshoe through our woods, and don't get me
Oh
wrong,
shit.
like the winter's cool. Like
Yeah.
it's really cool to go out when
Oh
it's
yeah.
negative 20 degrees in the woods. Like if you're dressed
Oh yeah.
right and it's
Oh yeah.
sunny, the sun makes you warm, and if it's not
Yep.
windy, it's really cool to do.
Oh
But
yeah.
yeah, I'm fucking over it. I've been here for 20 years. I'm like, I don't need it anymore.
In my younger and having to prove myself days, I did multiple different campouts when it was like 10 below for low at night, out in the woods, just backpacked it. One
Yeah.
time we took a sled with some stuff, and it's doable, but and it's fun. It's like a whole different world when you're out there and it's that cold, especially walking around the day and there's not another human for like miles. It's great, but yeah, it sucks. You don't want to do it for very long. And up there, y'all got a lot of sub-zero weather.
Yeah.
And I think
It
feels like it's getting colder too.
Yeah, Corey's got a coworker that does that extreme winter camping, and he goes up to
Mhm.
like the Boundary Waters, like
Ooh,
extreme northern Minnesota, like Canada
yeah.
border, and
Uh-huh.
camps like that in January. And I'm
Yeah.
like,
Why?
you do you, man. You do you.
Right? For a while, I think times I did it was just kind of prove that I could. And yeah, it was during hunting season, so I'd
Oh
take the
yeah,
rifle out or
they
whatnot. But
enjoy
nothing's
it.
ever going to happen. I was like,
Oh
pick me
yeah,
up
yeah.
in 3 to
Corey
4
went
days
dog
if I don't
sledding
check
every
in
year.
once a day. Send in the cavalry. But
Yeah, Corey went dog sledding every year. So
ooh, dog
my
sledding.
brother-in-law and my father-in-law, a group bunch of us used to go snow goose hunting every spring. We'd go down and go
Yeah.
to like southern Missouri or Arkansas and snow goose hunt. And so then Corey and her mom were like, "Why do these guys get to go on a trip and we don't?" And so they started going dog sledding in February in northern Minnesota, and it'd be like 10 degrees in the
Oh
morning,
yeah,
0 when they're taking
easily.
off. Oh, 10 below. She's correcting me. 10 below and taking off on dog sleds and
Right.
loved it. They loved it. They
Oh,
went back every year.
I bet. I mean, as long as it's not something you're doing all the time, that's
Yeah.
got to be fun to do. But you wouldn't want to live that way.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh shoot. Well,
Yeah.
I mean that's pretty awesome, and I know. So you guys are packing up. You're trying to move out of there. You're going to sell your place and everything like that. I understand you guys are fixing up a camper and getting ready to go around and travel and do
Yeah.
some stuff like that. So I hear the next thing you're really kind of doing is going to the Self Reliance Fest. You excited about that?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. We're finishing off the camper. So we had to winterize it. We took a trip last fall and out to see Brian at Squatch Fest, and then had to come back because we didn't sell our house in time. We didn't get ready to go, and we had to winterize the camper and move out of it because it's not going to happen in Minnesota.
You just can't do it up there. No, not in that.
Yeah, so we just recently were able to get like the batteries and stuff back into it, because I retrofitted it with it's completely off grid. We can go a couple weeks.
Nice.
As long as we can find water, we could pretty much go I don't know, month if we find food. But
nice.
We got plenty of solar, and we got a wood stove in it, so we can do kind of cold weather and stuff like that with the propane.
I kind of follow a lot of that stuff, like Facebook groups and just internet random stuff between people who are converting vans and campers or schoolies. There's a lot of cool ideas with the schoolie converters, because I mean, with me trying to set up the whole mobile slaughter truck and everything like that, I'm always thinking I'm going to end up camping in this thing for a good bit, especially like the first Float Fest. I had a E350. And I'll hang a hammock in the back of that thing. I camp in that thing. You know, I've done a whole bunch of stuff with it. And I'm always thinking, what can I do with this space? Because screw staying in a hotel, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Wow, I don't want to do that. I sleep way better. And what was really big for me, and I know you guys are going to probably be traveling across multiple states, I'm sure. But for me, Texas is huge, and my work's in Texas. So I have like a state park pass, and around here we have a bunch of state parks. Most of them have like swimming facilities, which means most of them have public showers, and you can rent a camp spot. And if you've got I pay $70 a year, I think, for it. But like the second night that you camp, you get half off for like up to a week. You know, so if I'm there more than once, it's not bad. And I can rent like a full hookup RV spot if I want to with my van or something like that, and have everything, water, power, whatever I want, big quiet spot for like $20-$30 a night.
Oh, that's not bad.
Why on earth would I go stay at a Motel 6 when I can be in the woods and have water and power, everything I need? My stuff's right here and nobody messes with me, and I can have a shower in the morning. Forget your continental buffet for $85 a night. I'll just stay in my van, you know?
Yeah. We're doing hip camps on the way down to Self-Reliance. So we take off, let's see, in like less than 2 weeks. We're taking like 3 days to get down there and hanging out for a day before. We're probably going to scope out properties while we're around down there. So then we're going to go to the fest on Saturday and Sunday, and then Monday we're gonna take off and go up and visit Ken Ash. He's one of the guys on Fireside Freedom. He's in Southern Kentucky, so we're gonna go up and stay with him for a couple days, and then kind of work our way back.
Sweet. Just kind of check everything out and make the circuit. And
get back. We got 2 week round trip, I think, is what we're doing. So.
I wish I could make it out to Self-Reliance Fest. That'd be cool as could be, but there's no way I can work it in the schedule, but it's going to be cool. You guys can make it out that way. Maybe you'll make it to Float Fest next year too. Probably the closest to me. So it's easier for me to budget it in. And it's like, man, right now, everything I put into that, I don't know if I can do more than one, maybe two things like that a year. There was a lot of prep that went into it for what I did.
We're changing. We're like on hyperdrive in like contingency mode with, oh, that's crazy. She just put tea in front of me.
I was like, whoa, what you smoking over there, bro?
We're like contingency planning because of fuel prices. Like,
man.
We were planning on taking off and traveling for at least a year and doing like hip camp consulting and doing like setting people's property up if they had like raw land that they wanted to use for a hip camp. We would go in, stay there, put a couple campsites in, and then we would either manage it for them or set the listing up for them, run it, whatever, just for a cut, and then kind of move around and build a network of these landowners that want to we'll use hip camp to build the network, but I'll be in contact with them, or I'll be managing the thing. And then once we have a big enough circuit of properties, we can recruit campers in that are like verified, low impact, zero impact campers. They're not going to fuck your shit up, and like put those two pairs together.
People you actually want out there. Yeah, because that'd be my biggest problem. If I was having somebody show up on the property, it's like, what kind of nuts am I going to get showing up out here?
Well, right. You never know. You don't know. You don't get to screen I mean, you do,
No,
like,
no.
it's a Yelp type system, like, but
Right.
who's to say this
I've
guy
never
didn't just
stayed at a quote unquote hip camp, but I've used the app and I've looked at it sometimes just as like a backup. And yeah,
Mhm.
there seems to be like a rudimentary vetting system, but is my understanding of it basically uh it's voluntary depending on the landowner. They might be able to
Yep.
turn around and say, hey, look, we could have anybody who wants to pay us money show up out here,
Uh-huh.
or only what X stars and above or verified users or something.
Yeah, we were gonna do in-person contact verification. So
Right.
you
That makes
to
sense.
get in, you need to have camped with
You need a
someone.
referral, basically.
Yeah, and then build that network that way, and then just
Yeah.
pull off a hip camp and run hip camp, but like
Right.
version like what it should
Uh,
be.
well, well, I mean, now the price for entry for something like that, exactly what you're talking, is a great idea, but shoot, the fuel costs, you can't get away from
Yeah.
that when you're mobile. It's
So
insane.
what we're thinking is we might look for like property one, maybe somebody
Mhm.
that has one that wants to develop it intently, that has some
There needs to
place
be
where
enough
we
work
can.
into it, or they want enough
Yeah,
infrastructure
that
to
could be a longer
spend some
term
time
project.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, and I've been looking into, so there's been lots of research done into this project. Like I want to do it. If I'm going to do it, I want to do it right. And
Yeah. Oh yeah.
there's vehicles to purchase a piece of property in your IRA and
Okay.
then fund the improvement of that property through your IRA, but
You
you have
roll it
to
into
pay
a
someone else
retirement
to do it.
fund that
Yeah.
nobody's really using right now as
Yep.
it is.
And
It's money they're not touching, and you could put it to use.
yep. And then the profits have to go back into the IRA. So if
Right.
there were net profits from it, it goes back into the IRA and that's just
Right.
held
That's the
there.
growth. Right.
And that's not saying that that's how it is. This is my understanding of it at this moment. I haven't really talked to a lawyer about it or anybody. Like
Right.
I have.
Right.
I've emailed a trust company about it, but it was just
Yeah.
basic inquiry.
Right. It's the theoretical. It should work, but you might have to adjust some things or whatnot.
Yeah, I would definitely get it all figured
I
out with an
understand that.
attorney before.
I sort of built a whole business and had to adjust at about a year and a half in. So totally get it. Totally get it. Well, hey, let me, before we think too much here. So anyways, you guys raise a whole bunch of mostly poultry and rabbits. Now, if
Yep.
from what I
Yep.
understand, you look at the state of Minnesota considers rabbits poultry, and I
Yeah.
think that's a universal dumbass thing. The state of Texas kind of does the same thing. They have the same exemption for poultry and rabbits. I think it basically means small enough we don't want to fuck with it.
Right.
So essentially, so you ended up mostly doing turkeys, chickens, things like that. Did you ever do anything that was like a little bit larger? Do you ever do pigs, cattle? You
We
ever do
didn't.
deer?
Pigs were our next venture.
Right.
When we decided to throw it in, we were actually planning in the planning stages for some pastured pigs, and we have a backfield that's kind of sits away from away from the house, so we have to figure out power and
Right.
stuff like that. But yeah, it's got woods and pasture. We're gonna run them out there, but
Mhm.
we never got to it. So
Never quite made it up far enough down the list. Right.
right, that was next
Diving
on the
there
list. It
too.
was gonna get crossed off.
Right.
So.
Right. Well, I know you hunt. So do
Yep.
you have experience with like doing deer or anything like that?
Yep.
Or would you stick to
Yeah.
mostly
Yeah. Yeah.
waterfowl and whatnot?
Yeah.
So you're familiar with all that too. Like I mostly as far as what I do, and I consult for people and stuff like that, is just it's mostly the big stuff like cattle, pigs, goats, sheep, stuff like that. And I do a ton of deer. And everybody asks me about poultry stuff or wants me to do poultry. And the sad part is there's no money in it, and I can do it. But man, because I raise layers and I have some ducks and stuff like that. I do my culls, but it's weird to say it. I don't mean it quite the way it sounds, but I don't enjoy it. It's not like I enjoy going out there and gutting a cow, but it's something I've done enough and I'm good at. So when it comes to the poultry side of things, I'm like, man, I'd like to get some people who they have real hands-on experience doing that, like at a large level, larger than me, on the show, because I love hearing how everybody seems to do it a little different when it comes to poultry. So
Right.
when you guys did poultry, like what were you do? I know you had some dodgy processors the first time. I heard that on your podcast recently. We could go over that, but everybody can go back and find your podcast. They should run over to the Lots Project and check that out too. But I mean, so you had some crappy experiences, literally, and you ended up doing this stuff yourself. Well, how did that look for you? You said you ended up borrowing a plucker and everything like that, but what kind of setup did you have?
Okay, so so our first calls with poultry was like I think it was like a 2-year-old rooster that we were like, yeah, he's got to go.
It was
and
this
I was
time.
like, oh, perfect. I can practice processing chickens. I'm like,
right.
I can just do this. Like, never.
This is a great learning opportunity.
Yeah, I didn't look into it or anything, but just did some real quick YouTube University and culled this thing and butchered it. It was just like, it was horrible. It was hard. It was like, it was all tough and like hard to process. And I'm like, oh, this is going to be horrible.
Yeah.
And we're
like
thinking
shooting
like
an old squirrel and trying to skin that thing. And you're like, this is worse than a deer.
Yeah, you're like little pieces are like ripping off and stuff. You're like, what the hell? And
your knife feels after the first 2 swipes with it. Yep.
Yeah. So we cooked it. It was absolutely horrific. And I'm like, whatever, fuck it.
Right.
And so then we're thinking we're gonna do 40 meat birds on pasture, built a tractor and everything into my tractor in pasture. And I'm like, oh my God, this is gonna be a horrific day, this processing day, because the only experience I had were this old rooster and some old hens. And
What'd you do, Cornish cross?
Yeah, we did Cornish cross, and they got like a little big.
Button.
yeah, it was just like butter. Like it went so smooth. Like the feathers came out really easy. Whatever. We used the propane burner for a scalder. We had family over. It was interesting. But it was
a little resistant to it.
Yeah, it was a learning experience, and we definitely learned from the horrible first experience because we weren't set up right. Like, we did it. Yeah. I observed it, and then I figured out how to do it better. And then Corey and I, by ourselves, at the end, we would do 80, 85 birds in a day, and that was from alive in the pasture to parted out in the freezer.
That's a pretty good haul for birds, because I am not that quick with it. Like I will throw down on a cow or some swine, but chickens, Lord. Well, granted, I do so little of it. It's not worth it to me to have a plucker. I'm not going to bother scalding it. I'll skid it, or if I feel like hand plucking a breast, that's fine. But I'm like 5 coal roosters in, covered in blood and feathers, and I'm sitting here going, I could have a whole steer skinned and quartered in a walk-in cooler by now, and I've got 20 pounds of meat to put in the freezer. I get so frustrated with it.
Yeah. So, I mean, we really got good at it, the birds, because we had to make it worth it.
Yeah. Well, you guys were trying to do it for a business too. You were trying to you were actually raising it to sell. This wasn't just like a backyard thing for you guys. Just putting it in the freezer though. So that's. Your stakes are a little higher, and you kind of have to either rely on a good processor or learn to do it yourself the right way, because there's an expectation there.
Oh man, it was bad. It was like, so we're 90 miles from the cities, so we are quite a ways away. Like we're on a major artery going north and south, and we thought that'd be an advantage. People driving to their cabins in the summer and things like that.
But it's seasonal only.
I'm not good at. I'm not a marketing genius by any means. Like I'm horrible at it.
Me either, but yeah.
But it was, so we had these chickens, and they were premium. They were like pasture raised, no corn, no soy feed, like really good birds. Like it was the best chicken I've ever had.
Right.
Like, I was growing birds for me, and the byproduct was what I was selling. So I was going to make the best meat I possibly could on my property for me to eat, and then try to sell it to people.
Sure.
And so I'm selling this premium product, and I can't sell it locally, like not enough. Like
you've got to have the market to sell it.
Right. So I was 90 miles away. So I'm driving to get to the processor. So to deliver the product in Minnesota, it has to be done USDA inspected facility, or a Minnesota.
Otherwise it's on farm only. Yep.
Yeah. Or a Minnesota equal to, there's different minute differences between the two, but like the smaller one, the equal to, you can do certain things, and then the USDA, you can go to grocery stores or whatever. I can't remember
It's
the difference.
similar-ish here. We have a Texas inspected and we have a USDA inspected, which are basically the same thing. It just depends on which agency you get the grant from, and you can do both, but it's more red tape.
Okay.
But the USDA lets you sell over state lines. Texas inspect lets you actually resale or whatnot. But most grocery stores aren't going to take it. And man, it's a nightmare for most folks to kind of figure out, because they figure, hey, I'm going to show up, raise some birds, sell my eggs, sell my chickens. I'm going to have to jump through hoops to do that because it's fucking chicken and eggs.
Yep.
You know, it's not that complicated or that weird to sell it to your neighbors, but they make it that way.
Here's a story for you that I didn't tell on my podcast. I saved it for you. So this is the insanity of the Minnesota state laws. So I went to the top. Like, I started finding email addresses for the Minnesota Department of Agriculture, Poultry and Meat Division. Like, I had questions about my rabbits because I wanted to sell them. I wanted to process them myself, but I wanted to sell them. And so I wanted
How do
answers.
I do this?
I got sick of reading all the literature that was so gray and didn't have any definitive answers. And so I wanted to ask somebody fucking questions and have answers to the questions in email.
Yeah. Right.
So I emailed this dude, and he's like, I think he's one of the heads of that division. And I just got his email from off the website or something, through the dude an email.
Yep.
And he writes back, and we're talking about rabbits. And I was like, so I understand the purpose behind the customer being able to come to the facility that it was processed at if it's not inspected. So the customer can come and see if they approve of the setting. I understand this. I'm not denying that that's a good thing to have. And he's like, okay. And so I said, I'm like, what if the customer doesn't give a shit?
Yeah. What then?
He's like, well, they have to come to the facility anyway. I'm like, all right.
Whoa. Whatever. You mean they have to? Wait, are you going to make them? Are you going to come get them?
I said, so here's the better question for you. And I wrote this in the follow-up email, and I said, so if the customer does come to my farm and looks at the facility and inspects the facility and decides to buy rabbit from me,
right,
and then wants to buy rabbit from me again, but he's already been here and fulfilled the requirements of your purpose of having him come to the facility, can he choose now to have me deliver that to him? And he said, no. I said, that doesn't make any sense. And he goes, yeah, I know, but that's just the law.
That's just the way it is.
And I'm like,
why?
Why?
Like, you're like a 5-year-old, but why?
I talk to the government. It's like, but why?
Well, it's like, so what I'm dealing with now, okay, so like 2 years ago, there was not a procedure for a mobile custom exempt slaughter unit. So like in Texas, when it comes to large livestock, you're dealing with, you can have USDA inspected for like cattle, sheep, all that fun stuff. Or you can have custom exempt. Custom exempt means you own the animal, you're getting the meat back. Even if it's sold in halves, quarters, whatever, you owned it before it was killed. And, you know, it skips a lot of the inspection stuff, which is the only way we're going to be able to like license a mobile unit right now. But there was not a way to do that a couple years back. Well, somebody went and kissed the state's ass and basically said, we'll do everything that we can to make this happen. So they started applying almost all of the regular brick and mortar rules to them and made a path for that to happen. And they took it upon themselves to go out on social media and report everybody who'd been in operation in the state before then doing something that there was never even a license for or a need to do so, and had the state showing up as their weapon on their doorstep, knocking on your door saying, hey, look, you can't operate now or we're going to fine you $5,000 per animal. And here's what you can do to comply like these guys did. So that's kind of the path I had to go down. Well, now I'm finally seeing where I can actually make that work. And I'm like, okay, well, there's enough more business and money in it for me to actually play the state's game a little bit. But the things I have to do to this vehicle are ridiculous. Like, I have to provide a bathroom. maybe twice a year, perhaps 4 times a year. I'll have an inspector that will come in because they can just drop in when it's mobile. They mostly schedule with you because they have to come to the individual's property, and they don't want to get canceled on a rain date. So everybody I know, they've been scheduling with them, but they've got to show up, inspect, make sure you're following your own rules that you wrote in your own stuff that you submitted to the state, whatever crap they have to do. But they may have to take a shit while they're there. So you need a bathroom. Like, one person got by with this by bringing a porta potty in a second truck, and obviously fuel costs pretty much killed them. And friends of mine set the same thing up. They had like a camp toilet and one of those little pop-up mini tents and like a hand wash station, and they put it away. They never touch it. They throw it in the back of the trailer. And if the inspector needs to use it, they say the rule around here is if you need to use a shitter, you set it up. So, but it's stupid stuff like that. One of the things, though, is kind of what brought me around to it. One of those things that I have to comply with is I have to bring my own water for wash down, for cleaning, for dishes, whatever. Now, I'm going to a customer's house where they've got, they live there. They take showers in their water. They eat with their water. They drink their water. And I'm not allowed to use their water to wash down their carcass or clean up after processing their animal because the state hasn't approved that their water is safe enough for them to consume. So because of that, I can only get water from an approved yearly tested source. And I have to bring like a 100-gallon tank of water with me to run my hot water heater I'm required to have in my 3-compartment commercial sink I'm required to have in my truck to do this. So I understand the levels of bullshit that go into this with the state to be able to actually operate a business where somebody other than your grandma eats your food.
Yeah. We had to play the game, so we couldn't get people to come here. And so they said, well, if you could deliver, we'd buy birds from you. I'm like, okay, cool. I'll build up the model. I'll figure out the pricing. The closest processor to me is an hour away. Like we had the shitty processor was 40 minutes away, and then we did it ourselves and said, fuck it, we're not going to that guy. And then we did it from home. That was the year we did it at home the first time. And then we decided we had to go back to a processor. So we didn't take our birds to the processor. We still did we did 80 birds a year for ourselves and our dogs.
You did your personal birds at home,
and then took the birds we were
stuff you had to resell.
Yeah.
Well, you got extra costs into that, and then you don't know if that processor is going to handle it the right way. And even for your own consumption, you obviously want the best for your customers, but you're going to eat it, and you're pretty sure you're going to do a better job than the processor. You do it yourself.
Right. Oh, for sure. And and we broke them down. Like that's all more expensive at the processor. Like we just broke them down as we did them. And and packaged them up and packaged them how we wanted them. And we didn't have to pay anybody to do it because we knew how to do it. But to sell them and be able to deliver them, we took them to the processor, paid the $4.95 a bird, and the gas to get there, the gas to get back, the trailer.
$4.95. That's pretty steep too.
Yeah. And so it's an hour each way, 2 days, because you got to drop them off today and pick them up tomorrow because they do them the next day. They want them there, and then they do a processing day, and then they flash freeze them. So it's just a pain in the ass.
And they don't want to hold them because they don't have so much space. And
we got all these whole birds done, and nobody wanted whole birds. They all wanted cut ups, and I'm like, fuck you. So I'm like, all right, well, we're going to take one more.
But then if you go and cut them up and try to resell them, then you can't repackage them now as resellable, and it's
so
stupid crap like that.
I would have to get it done next season. So I ate all these chickens. I didn't. We ended up selling them. But I mean at a discount, and we ate a lot of them. There
was an equal exchange between folks. Yeah.
So so then we did cut up. And then they're like, oh, well, that's really expensive. I'm like, well, no fucking shit. You know what I got to pay to raise this fucking bird? I have a fucking YouTube video that shows you how to break down the goddamn rabbit. Why can't you buy a whole rabbit? Why do you got to have it cut up?
Exactly. Well, so you guys did birds and you did rabbits. What'd you like better? Just overall, not raising it, processing it, eating it. What would you prefer if you had to pick one, and why?
pastured chicken.
Chicken?
Well,
Yeah.
raising it. Okay, so I have to preface this with we had like 30 breeders, rabbits.
Okay.
So it was a
Right.
lot of
So
work.
that's a lot. That's a lot of work. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot of
So
cleanup, a lot of daily maintenance. Yeah. I get it's a chore.
yeah.
And the
So
chickens, you don't really have to do much. You do one thing and it's all the chickens. It's not
move the
every individual cage.
10
Yeah.
feet, move the tractor 10 feet,
Mm.
fill the water bucket. Like I automated mine. I put a 5-gallon bucket on the back
Right.
with an auto feeder or auto water
Oh,
into it.
yeah.
So all I did was reach in and dump the food in, and yeah, like 10 minutes. And then
As
that's
much
all.
automation as you can do, but it's still work.
Yeah. The rabbits were, I mean,
And it's
when we
and
had
you
a
have to
few rabbits,
monitor each individual one every day.
yeah. Yep. And deal with all the kits and all the culling individually.
Mm,
I
yep.
was the only one that did the rabbit culling. So the way the rabbits worked with us was I did the beginning of life and the end of life, and Corey did everything in between. So I bred them and I
Right.
killed them and processed them, and she took care of them because they are cute and you take care of them
Oh, yeah.
and you get attached.
You
So
get
I would do
attached.
chores.
Yep.
I would do chores, but I would just fly by and fill feeders and change waters and stuff. And
You
she would
wouldn't
go
have as
around.
much engagement with them, and
When
she'd be
she would
naming
do
them
chores, she'd
and
play with them and everything.
cuddling
So
them. Yeah, exactly. So
yeah,
then you had to go be a bad
keeping them
guy.
docile. Like
Yeah.
she was really good at keeping them docile and like approachable. Like I had no
Right.
problem
Which is
handling
good.
them when I had to. So it worked. But
Mhm.
yeah, as far as food though, rabbit was so much better.
Oh yeah. If you're trying to raise it all yourself on and just cost wise, if you have any kind of land, you can feed a lot of rabbits with not much work. It's just
Yeah,
the
and we were
rest
going
of
to
it.
get into, and we'll probably get into fodder trees and stuff like that with the rabbits. We'll do it a lot smaller. We'll do just for us,
Right.
and it'll be a lot easier,
Yeah.
and I'm a lot more enjoyable, I'm sure. But the
Right.
food wise, yeah, the rabbits like far and away. The chicken's really good. Like man, our chicken is fantastic. But yeah, the rabbit, it's
Man,
it's
if
good.
I started trying to do rabbits when I got down here because I love the idea of rabbit like on paper, but I'm in Southeast Texas,
Yeah, it's
so
tough.
it's a whole different ball game. Like rabbits are not a hot weather creature,
No.
and raising them, like even the folks I know around here who do raise them, mostly raise them for show, and they have a hard time.
Inside,
Like
really
they've
taken
either
care
got
of.
some serious fans in a barn, or it's air conditioned. They keep them in their house. They have an air conditioned barn, and I'm like, I am not keeping something I have to fucking air condition. Like I'm not going to raise something for meat that I have to air condition. That's expensive as shit. I mean, down here we have to run the air conditioner 9 months of the year.
Right.
So I don't know. That's rough. And the thing with rabbits is, I want to say, and I can't confirm this, but I know I had enough trouble. It's probably true. Over 80, 85 degrees Fahrenheit, bucks go sterile.
Yeah.
So if you don't keep him,
I read that.
You got to keep him cool. And I mean, I'm sure that's not much of the year up there in Minnesota. Down here, that's like all of the year. So
right.
That's rough. And I think I had 4 or 5 starting out. And I never got anywhere with them. I was like, I love it. I love the fact that I can raise something that I can literally feed lawn clippings.
Yep.
But shit, it was so much daily maintenance. I'm like, I've got to work too. I've got to have a job. It's the same with quail. I had quail when I lived up north, and I had a porch out back, and we were not allowed chickens. So, nobody knew I had 100 quail in a 6 by freaking 4 foot coop on the back porch. And neighbors who did know, I shut them up with eggs.
Yeah,
so they didn't care. And I came down here, I started I started raising some quail because that's what I was familiar with. And I played with it for a bit, and then I realized if you've got land and you can run chickens and ducks and geese and stuff, and they all go to bed at night and they can run around during the day, it's really hard to justify all that extra feed for something that has to live in a cage. And I'd love to let it out, but literally everything eats it. I mean, a big rat will eat your quail.
I sold a ton of quail eggs and birds and whole birds.
I like quail eggs. I do.
I sold a lot of it into the raw dog food market, and that's where I end around all the processing laws. Is I sold
good way to get around it
stuff into the raw pet food market, and so that became kind of my MO with everything.
Yep. The dog food. Yep.
And any of the dog food owners that happen to eat it, I mean, I did let them know.
I mean, that's on them.
eating.
I mean, if they want to eat dog food, I mean, that's just their own life choices. You have nothing to do with that, right?
Yeah, I mean, I advertised as human grade dog food. So.
Oh, hey, there you go. Exactly. I mean, for people, if you really care about your dog, you only want to feed them something human grade anyway. So
Yeah, you know, I will gut and skin it for a fee for your dog if you don't want to feed them traditional raw.
If your dog's sensitive to things like guts or skin, you know, and if they prefer it like, you know, roast like a little Cornish game hen, that's we can accommodate that. You know,
and you might want to taste test it for them, and maybe there wouldn't be any left. So.
Right. I mean, oops. Oh shoot. Did you guys ever raise ducks?
We didn't. That was going to be on the so I planned on ducks for quite a while, and then I was like, I can't even keep my fucking chicken water for unfrozen for more than 4 hours in the middle of the winter.
Oh yeah. That would be hard. The only thing I think that might be in your favor there is the ducks are in it more. But yeah.
I wasn't going to.
Yeah, I'm sure it's doable, but yeah, the winter's a whole different thing I haven't had to deal with. Now, I will say from my experience, as far as the meat side, I will take ducks over chickens any day. Well, I like ducks better as far as just
we kill a lot of ducks here.
Good Lord, So, okay, look at it this way. A large breed duck that's like a meat duck, like a Pekin or a Rowan type duck, those things at 6-8 weeks, they are almost adult size. Like they are full size. Like I have had 8-week Pekin ducks that were like 10 pounds live.
Oh, nice.
The only thing close to that is Cornish cross. And they're consistent. And then the thing about that is those Pekin ducks, I can keep them around. They don't fall over dead because they broke their leg because they got too heavy. Like, you know, Cornish can if they're overfed, like they're supposed to be. And but the thing with that is the females will still not as good as like a really good laying breed duck, but they'll still lay really well, like 5 eggs a week. Like they outlay most laying breed chickens. Most
dude
ducks
in your chat
of all breeds outlay
that dude in your chat is breeding those Cornish cross with the red Rangers or Rainbow Rangers or whatever.
Yeah.
I was like, awesome that blows my mind. He got hens old enough to lay eggs. Like mine. I mean, I took really good care of my
they won't.
Yeah, I had very few losses.
Cornish, you're fighting nature if you're trying to get something old enough to lay. And if they do, they're never going to be a really good layer. So I don't know. I need to talk to him. I'm hoping to actually get him on and interview him too. He's not far from me. He's about 30 miles south of me. So I might actually get a live interview.
Nice. Yeah, I'm excited to hear about that project.
See. I need to talk to him about that. Yeah.
But
yeah, I mean, it's super cool. Like I've been raising lately for chickens. I've been doing Brahma and naked neck cross because when they get pretty good size and they grow a little faster because those naked necks do really well and they're really super hardy. But
and they got less.
It takes a long time to get them sizable enough to eat. Right? They have the pure ones. Like I finally got one that's got the double gene and he's got like no little bow tie on his neck and everything. 50% of the feathers are regular chicken, but they grow faster. They're more resistant to cold and heat, which is crazy. You wouldn't think they'd be more resistant to cold, but apparently they put more energy into their actual growth and everything versus putting on feathers or something. But they do grow. That's confirmed. That gene in like broiler chickens will cause them to grow like up to 14% faster, I guess, something like that. So they do really well. I never have them get sick and die, but they because it's crossed with the Brahma, they take a long time to get to their full size. They're going to be big boned and you know, everything like that. So they're mostly soup chickens, but I'm okay with that because I raise them for eggs. And I've been on a mission to like raise chickens that just don't keel over and die. Cause I mean, I had a huge problem with that. Fowl pox is bad. It's like half the year it's really wet because I'm down in like the piney woods. I'm not in like the desert side of Texas. So the missions come and they carry this. It's like chicken pox, but for chickens. And half of them will die from it once they get it and they survive. They're immune to it. But I was having such a problem. I was getting all these fancy breeds. I had like German Bielefelders and shit like that. And everything I got shipped in, hatching eggs, everything was dying left and right. So I just started focusing on getting only local birds and breeding local birds and only keeping the ones that survived and breeding those. And now I think I probably got 40, 50 chickens altogether right now in that neighborhood. And I think I lose 1 or 2 a year to getting sick over something. And when they do, they go to the extra pigs, you know, I mean, right. You're breeding them for that local area. So I tell a lot of people, I'm like, if you're looking for the best chickens in your area, look at what your neighbors are raising, especially if they're not buying hatchery chicks. If they're raising it and hatching it themselves, those things are already adapted to your local conditions.
I should have had, I think I was borderline hatchery status with like, I had a sportsman incubator.
One of the big boys.
Yeah, the three level, and that thing ran for I think 18 months straight, full of either quail eggs or chicken eggs.
Dang. Oh yeah, I'm over here running it all on like a Hovabator. I had 2 running at one point, but but like I said, I'm not raising. If you're raising broilers, you're raising for meat, man. You got to have some volume. You know, you got to keep that consistently going. For me, it's like, no, I just need to refresh my hens every once in a while.
Yeah, I was selling them all. I was selling all those birds. I was selling them all to, so I was selling quail and laying like custom or Welsimer. I think we were selling Welsimer and Black Hopper Moran chicks and some like speckled Sussex purebreds.
Right.
So we kept them all separate. And like it came down to the fact we were selling hatching eggs too. I realized at one point we were selling a dozen eating eggs for like $4 a dozen. And I looked on
hatching eggs were like what, 8?
What's that?
The hatching eggs were like what, 8?
Hatching eggs, like the Black Hopper Moran, were like $25 a dozen.
Whoo, shit, yeah, that right breed.
So I'm like, oh, cool. So they're fertile for like a week. You know, I'm not going to sell $25 a dozen eggs after a week to get somebody in the incubator.
Right. And when they get like 50% fertility after that, right.
I'm gonna collect these eggs. I'm gonna sit on them for a week. If I don't sell them in a week, I'll sell them for $4 a dozen as eating eggs because they're still fucking good.
Right. I mean, shit. I mean, well, there you go. Just convert them over. That makes sense. Yeah,
we converted our whole flock. We converted our whole flock to split down and purebred. We had 3 different breeds, and we sold hatching eggs, and we hatched birds, and then we sold eating eggs with all the leftovers if we had any.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, the light bulb came on one day.
I don't sell eggs. Like if somebody really wants eggs, that's fine, or I'll sell hatching eggs. But I keep all eggs. I don't wash them. I don't refrigerate them unless somebody asks, you know, that kind of thing. I don't want to deal with the labeling and the crap like that. So it's if some friends want some eggs, they get some eggs. But hatching eggs, whatever. You know, I've really thought about
eat hatching eggs just hatching like out dog food.
Right. I mean, it's totally doable. I mean, it just depends. I mean, the state tells you you're probably going to get E. coli and die, but you know, they tell us a lot of things too. I really thought about hatching some ducks and geese because the price on them has been insane. You tried to buy any of them lately? Geese were going for like $20-$30 for a gosling. But the problem is, if I do that, I've got to keep them and deal with them until they get picked up. And I'm like, just the amount of time and stuff that goes into it. I'm not home enough consistently to do it. So the money's there. I've got the resources to do it. You know, none of my stuff is purebred right now. I had some purebred, like show quality Rhode Island Reds for a while. And I lost the rooster, and it's just like the hens are too old to lay. So they need to go in the crock pot, but they've been around long enough. It's like you kind of earned your keep. You're here.
We got a bunch
we'll
of
let
those
you
in
eat
the
your
yard
feed.
right now.
You know, they're the pity case. It happens, you know.
We used to call ours, and then we just started free ranging the ones that were retired. We just let them out of the coop.
Hey, they're eating bugs, so they're earning something.
Yep, cleaning up the gardens and mowing the yard, and so
I think that's like the undervalued part of having poultry, especially down here. We had long and huge bug season, and having ducks and chickens and stuff in the yard. Man, I don't get the mosquitoes. I think the ducks and Muscovy ducks especially, but the rest of the ducks dabbling in any standing water and getting all the mosquito larvae out makes a huge difference. But I mean, I can go to the place next door, and we're kind of down in the woods, but I can go next door, be walking around, laying in, don't have a shirt on, whatever. I'm talking to somebody, I'm getting eaten by mosquitoes. I'm like, it's that time of night, got to go home, head back to the house. Suddenly, I'm not getting eaten by mosquitoes. In the confines of my yard, it's like it's like 10% of what there is everywhere else. I don't have problems with everybody around here gets the roaches and stuff like that. I see like 2 a year running through the yard, the little water bugs, June bugs. These red wasps are terrible around here, especially in the summer. They'll make nests everywhere. They're mean. They sting the shit out of you. I've seen a Muscovy duck like flap its wings and jump like 6 foot straight in the air and just snap one as it flew by. They just sit and prey on stuff. And the chickens too, scratching around, eating up any maggots, any fly larvae, whatnot. The insect load is so much less from having the chickens just
our neighbors spray
the turkeys, they're running around hunting ticks and I get people all the time give me shit because I'll shoot a possum that gets in and killing chickens. They're like, don't shoot them, they eat so many ticks. I'm like, what eats more ticks? Turkeys. What eats those? Possums. I shoot the possums and let the ticks go away with the turkeys.
Yeah, our neighbors spray and we just use birds.
Yeah, exactly. It's crazy how much they really do. In fact, we've been able to get some of them trained to fire ants are bad down here, but between the chickens and the ducks, it doesn't take them long to catch on. You can throw a little bit of scratch grain down on top of an anthill and they come over and they start tearing that up once the ants start coming up, especially the ducks. It seems like they realize, hey, these things are tasty too. Next thing you know, you've got ducks that will find an anthill anywhere in the yard and destroy it. And no, they don't get down in there and complete 10 feet in the ground, but that constant repeated, whatever, the ants either decide to move or eventually they just die from slowly starved out or something, because the ducks are always on it. They're they come around and you seed there enough, they're looking for snacks. So it's like, shoot, I have 2 or 3 maybe anthills will pop up and I can walk down the road and I have a pasture full of it.
Right. Yeah. That's free candy.
They're good for that utility. They're great for that utility, and so many people overlook that part of it because, I like the tractor thing. I really do. And it's a great way to manage broilers and stuff, but you still miss out on some of the benefits of free ranging. But it's hard to do that unless you've got a laying flock,
Yeah. We, our meat birds were in tractors inside electro netting because we've got just a ton: coyotes, wolves, bears.
Oh, they're
aerial predators.
Raccoons are the worst around here. There's a lot of hawks and stuff. I think the hawks, having the geese out with it makes a big difference. They see a larger bird. They don't really go after anything. They're not out there. Everybody says, oh, they're great guards. They're great alarm birds. No, it's whenever they do shut up, that's when you should pay attention because they're always screeching and squalling. But I don't have the hawks come down to mess with stuff because they see something bigger than them there.
Right.
It doesn't do shit for bobcats, for raccoons. Possums will mostly go after eggs. We got black rat snakes down here. They'll eat 7-10 eggs out of a nest and then get stuck and then kill all the chickens and constrict them all to death because they don't know how to get out. They're full of eggs. So we have to deal with a lot of predators here. And being right next to the national forest, you can't kill them all. They just keep popping up.
Yeah.
So you're go ahead. Finish.
No, I'm the end of the road. There's nobody building behind us for probably 40-50 acres at least. So yeah, we get all that predator push out of there as soon as they. So I feed them well. I throw lots of shit out in the woods for them, so they're not coming after my shit. Any calls go out to them, and
yeah, like my place, I could literally follow one band of woods back, zip back across 3 or 4 neighbors' properties, still be in the woods, cross one little tiny, almost 2-lane blacktop road and be in the national forest. So anything could walk up. I could have Sasquatch showing up in my backyard and he has full cover the whole time. So
Nice.
It's
Nice.
if it's out here, it's in my yard. So, having dogs around helps, but yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. The big
there's a
dogs.
lot to it.
No.
Well, are you going to are you guys going to miss it while you're on the road though? I know you've kind of probably ratcheted back on doing livestock really for now because you're trying to get out. Are
Yeah.
you going to miss having that
Yeah.
daily stuff or?
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. We started thinking with the fuel costs and everything, and we want to do this again for sure. For sure, we
Yeah.
do miss it
Right.
because we have shut it down. We've been planning this and figuring it out for 2 years since we
Oh, yeah.
decided we were going to go. So we slowly shut everything down over those 2 years and bought the
Ratcheted
camper
down and
retrofitted the camper. We're down to like 12 chickens, and when we started, we got more than that with our first batch. So like we're lower than we've ever been. And yeah, we miss it. We didn't do any garden this year. We didn't start anything. And so
it feels like you're something you're supposed to be doing that you're not. And
yeah,
it just feels wrong. Yeah.
We'll probably take some profit from the property and go buy a spot and start start our first hip camp, like our new one.
Right.
So it'd be like property one, and see what prices do, fuel prices, and what happens with the economy.
See
and
how everything goes.
Better. If it never gets better,
you've
we
got a home base then.
And and figure it out. Maybe we do it remotely. Maybe we can figure out how to network all the landowners. Maybe there isn't the actual physical development, but there's the management and then the networking of the campers, because I still plan on traveling to festivals. I plan on going to Float Fest. So meeting people is not a problem.
Oh, yeah.
And doing the vouching in is not a problem. It's I was more interested in traveling the country, going to each location and managing it that way.
Doing a full-time type deal on the road and like a route.
Yep. And see the country and be able to decide where we want to land in the end. And once it got established, let it kind of morph itself into what it is, and then have our home base that we run out of, that we get to develop our new home.
Right. So maybe instead of it being like a route while you just kind of float around, you're doing the drifter consultation type thing. Maybe it's more you establish a home base, but you're free enough to be able to branch away when you need to.
Yep.
And if somebody wants, you can even have multiple price options. And I'm kind of having to do the same thing with my consultation type stuff, because Texas is huge and fuel costs are insane. So if you want to talk to me over the phone or a video chat type thing, and, I can only offer so much in that media, that's fine. And we can work that out. If you want to pay me to come to you and look at your situation, get boots on the ground and tell you exactly what, we need to get done and shake my hand, that kind of thing, well, that's fine, but you're going to have to pay for my time and my fuel to get there. That cost is unfortunately going up. I'm not sitting here trying to rake you over the coals for it, but I got to make it worth my time too.
Right.
If you look at it that way, there's probably quite a few people who will turn around and go, right. There might be, in my experience, there's a lot of people who will pay for you to come out. They'll throw the money down.
That's my whole industry.
They know it's worth it.
Now.
But you can't rely, but you can't rely on that's going to be an all the time thing, or there's always going to be somebody where you're at. So I imagine just traveling, you're going to have a lot of downtime, or we're going to be stuck here. Like, we're in Washington right now. We really can't get to Kentucky to give you a consultation because unless you're planning to pay for us to come all the way back there, wait till we make the trip around. And right now, right now it's so expensive. We're lucky we can keep the freaking heat on, that kind of thing. So
I can
understand that. Like, mobile's one thing, but mobile is different than full mobile. If you're fully mobile all the time, but having a home base will definitely at least give you a feather in your cap there and some flexibility, and you can change it up from year to year if you need to.
Right. And if I just want to travel, that's not as big a deal, because I don't have to go a long distance when I'm traveling. But if
especially once you're out of your work and you've actually got something other than the daily job, it's not that hard to figure out a way to travel when you've got two people too. You've got somebody to be at home if need be. If you really are, if you've got animals and they've got to be taken care of, you've got that option of being able to split the team. You don't have that. Well, a lot of people don't have that if they're by themselves dealing with it.
Yeah, and we, there's remote work options completely. Like Corey
There are.
currently works remotely from home 100%, but
Right.
for some reason they won't
That's
sign
awesome.
off on her doing it from the camper.
Oh, they want to be a pain in the butt about the exact address. We don't want you to have to come to the office, but we want to know exactly where you are when you're working.
Pretty much. Even though, yeah,
Oh.
she did it in the so there's no difference. She's been using. So when we winterized the camper, we brought our internet from the camper into the house because our internet in our house was so bad that a mobile
I understand
hotspot
that
router. So we brought it in. She's been using that for going on a year because she moved into the camper last year about this time, and we hooked up the internet, and so she's been doing full-time remote from the internet we would be using for a year. But they're like, yeah, no, we haven't been able to approve it yet.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. It's been years. It's not like it was COVID. She was remote before COVID because we moved up here, and she's like, I got to find another job, or you have to let me work remotely because it was 90 miles from our house to her
that's
work.
not viable to do every day.
But she was
the right kind of job.
Team member. She was a valuable team member, so they made an exception and let her start working remote.
Right.
So, yeah.
Oh man, let me see here. That's stupid crap. Well, so hey, let me put it this way. So if you had some advice to give somebody who's completely new to like homesteading, or they want to start like a backyard flock, they're thinking, man, I want to raise meat for my family. Most of these guys are like, I'm going to order 50 freaking broilers and run them in a tractor. What would you give these guys advice? If somebody is trying to get into this and they want to raise meat at home and process it themselves, and they have no idea, what would you tell them?
Man, I would never keep them in a pen. I'd always put them in a tractor. I would always put them on grass. I just think they're healthier that way. Figure out what would work for you, styles, look at different ones. There's different advantages and disadvantages to them all. We ended up going with John Suskevich style, kind of like tent tractors. There's Salatin, there's so many different types, and you might be able to come up with your own. That's what I did a lot, was kind of mix and match other people's stuff and design my own with different features that I liked from each different one. Because like I'm 6'5", so people don't build shit for people that are 6'5". Like they build things for people that are like 5'8".
I'm not 6'5", but I understand. Yeah, everything is short. When I'm 6'2", and I'll get on a bus and be like, why?
Yeah, but then
I made that mistake. A lot of my pens are 6-foot dog kennels.
Yeah,
with the nighttime pens for the free rangers,
right?
And I hit my head constantly. It's like a daily thing. I hit my head. It is how it is. But I haven't had a concussion, but it's amazing that I haven't. Either my skull's that thick, or there's not enough brain up there. I don't know, but
or the brain's big enough. So like, here's the deal. So if you don't get concussions, your brain's bigger, because the concussion's actually the force of your brain hitting the back of your head and like smacking back and forth. So your brain might be big enough.
That's true. There's too much space in there. Yeah, maybe it could be. Yeah.
But
I don't know. But
with the birds, don't go all in. I mean, learn if you want to do it. I think it's worth a season. Like even in Minnesota, we
are able
to do. Well, we're able to do with a Cornish cross with 8 weeks. I think we were able to do 4 turns in a year, and that was running consecutive batches. Yeah. Like they were overlapping by the brood period. Like it was stretched to 4. So anywhere in the fucking country, you could do 2 batches in a season. So order 10, do them, process them yourself, and see if you like it.
Yeah,
and then figure out if you want to do 3 batches of 10 to get your 30 birds, or 5 batches of 10 to get your 50 birds, or you want to do, 1 batch of 50. Because we would rather do 90 birds. If we want 90 birds, we want to do it in one day because we're not that good. But maybe you don't want to do 90 birds in a day, so do 2 batches of 45. Maybe that's more manageable. So
figure that out. Don't cut in and out. I guarantee it. So I am going to pop over and reset it real quick. So hold it down for a second. I'll be right back.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. Yeah, so maybe spread it out. Maybe spread out the processing into smaller batches. Make sure you really like it, and if you don't particularly care for doing it, maybe find somebody to buy from locally that does it, that raises them themselves and processes them themselves, and you know where they came from, and yeah. That's kind of the advice for getting into it, I guess. Make sure it's for you. Like, don't go balls out. So, other than that, yeah, I don't think there's much advice. You just got to do it. You got to do it. Be prepared. Figure it out beforehand. Maybe have all the stuff in place before you get the birds. Have a plan to do it. Don't just order birds because you're going to raise them in your front yard and you have no plan whatsoever. So, yeah, I don't know. You frozen over there? I think he's all locked up. Uh-oh. So what are we going to talk about? Setup for chicken processing. Our final setup that we ended up with was pretty efficient. It was just Corey and I rocking it out every time we were going to do birds. Hey, look at that. It's all me. So we, the way we would set it up is we bring the birds up to our front yard. We would have, excuse me, a sawhorse in the front yard with two processing cones for the chickens. And then I had built a scalder. We originally went with a propane scalder, and it was just a pain in the ass to manage, to keep the temperature right. We always had to have a person keeping an eye on it. So with the two of us doing it by ourselves to make it more efficient, I put together a electric scalder. Used a digital thermostat and a water heater element and like a 35-gallon plastic drum. Wired it to a nice long extension cord, plugged it in, and it would just heat up the water to whatever I set the thermostat to. Kept it below the melt point of that plastic drum, and you didn't want it that hot anyway to scald your birds. So I built that. We'd get that cooking, and it would maintain temperature after it got there. It took quite a while with our cold well water for it to heat up to temp, but once it was there, it really maintained well with that big water heater element. So we would then set up a plucker that we borrowed from our neighbor every year. We really appreciate that, and yeah, we got a lot of use out of that. So we would set that up, and then a pop-up 10x10 tent, and a processing table. And Corey was kind of the processor. I did the calls and the bleed out, the scalding, the plucking, and then passed off to her, and she did the processing under the tent. So I just ran through our processing setup when we figured it out while you were rebooting there.
Perfect. Well, thanks for holding that. It was a good chat. Unfortunately, I'm out of the woods, so I don't have a good data. The best I've got is 4G hotspot and forum data is, and I just rigged up OBD2 thing for eBay and plugged it. It resets every 2 hours. So no way I can afford data out of your woods. They have no fire, so we'll see. I try not to do it, just work. So, anyways, thanks for holding it down, and everybody about the processing. That was the big is well, you're like so. Here, no. Well, I was going to ask you a couple things. We'll do asked earlier. What do you think? Like the biggest overall processing animals. What's like the number one takeaway? Man, that different.
Oh, I have no idea what you said. It was super choppy.
Oh shit! Oh shit! Okay, hold on.
Throw it in the private chat over on the side.
Thanks for letting me know. Yeah, I will. I will. Hold on. Let me second guess that a little bit. Get it to work.
We could do the mime thing we were talking about earlier. You could just you could type what you're saying and I could relay it.
Oh.
Oh, I don't know if it's gonna send it. This is an interesting experiment.
All right. Is this a better connection? Is this any better?
Yeah, that perfect.
Oh, sweet. Okay, cool. I'm back on the hotspot, not on the mobile tether. All right, cool. Well, I don't have to actually mime it all. So there we go. Sweet.
Oh, that was perfect. That
Hey,
was great.
super
Was
authentic folks, you know.
Oh no.
We're live. We're in the middle of nowhere. All right. Well, hey, before I lose you again, I was going to ask then, if you had to tell somebody what is the major lesson you learned from raising animals, processing them yourself, doing all this stuff, if you had to do one thing different, what would be the main takeaway? What's something you would tell a complete newbie that don't do this?
Be sure you want to do it for income before you ramp up and hate it. I didn't necessarily hate it. We would ramp it up, and then once we weren't making it, we would get to a point where it either had to go full time or stay part time, and then we would scale it back to a manageable level. Skip that step if you don't plan on, if you're just doing it for yourself. I mean, really understand what you actually need. Do you need a chicken a week? Do you need 5 chickens a week? What do you really need? And set realistic expectations getting into it.
Right. Yeah. I think that's some pretty good, solid advice on there. Well, then, would you ever consider in your travels or an event or something like that? Would you ever think about doing like a workshop or a class on it, or is that something you just don't really want to mess with?
I mean, possibly. I will be out of practice quite a bit. I haven't done it in like
Right.
2.5 years now. I'll probably do more. Yeah, I plan on doing some sort of event or
Educational type.
presentation at some point coming up with something. I'm really working
cool.
on my crypto beginner's guide at the moment. I have one now, but it uses like Coinbase and Jax and stuff, and
right, a little bit outdated for nowadays.
But yeah, I'm gonna do a lightning addendum to it probably, and then I just give that away.
When you sign up for my email. At this point, lightning's gonna be like half the book or half the.
Yeah, so I don't know. Whatever. I know a lot of shit about a lot of shit.
Right. Yeah, we're going to talk about Saturday. You've had a super diverse background and done a bunch of stuff in your life too, and I think you and I are a lot alike in that way. So that'll be an interesting little venture there.
I get all interested in shit and go hog into it, and then I get bored with it, and I go learn.
That's kind of what I do. Yeah. I have to learn all of the things, and once I've learned it, I'm done, and I'm tired, and I want to move on. So, I think the main thing that has sort of saved me in my more recent career is I branched out on my own, and I have to improvise. Like if I show up to somebody's place and I'm doing a consultation or working with them or whatnot, nothing's ever the same. Everybody's animals in a different place. Everything's they may come from a whole different standpoint than me. What they want out of it is totally different than me. I have to spend half the time explaining stuff to people and get a lot of different connections. Every day is different. Every day is an adventure. And that's kind of what I thrive on. So if that's your mindset, if you can find that, do it.
That's why I love this. I love like the homesteading thing, and every day is a challenge. Every day is different. There's a chicken that's like got himself stuck somewhere, and you're like, how the fuck did he get in there? Because I have no idea how the fuck I'm going to get him out of there. And
it's not walking in, punching a clock, sitting inside of a square box all day, and then punching the clock and going home. Yeah,
dude, my job right now, like I could probably teach you how to do my job right now, like the kind of work we're doing, just because of the season. Like I could probably teach you how to do it in like a day because you have some sort of mechanical ability.
Oh yeah. I tell people that all the time. I'm like 90% of what I know, I could teach a trained monkey to do it, but I can't teach you to want to.
Right. Oh yeah. Or care about how you do it.
Right.
That's the thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing, honestly.
Yep. Yep.
Oh
You
shit.
gotta care about what you're doing. And
Oh yeah.
yeah, I'm putting filters on gas pumps and shit. I'm like,
Yeah, and you're on your way out, so your give a fuck
yeah, there
is
is that.
already kind of running out. Yeah, I understand that.
I'm on
Well,
the
hey,
3 to 5 year cycle.
so you've raised a shitload of chicken, turkeys, rabbits, and stuff like that. What's your
Yep.
favorite way to cook something that you've raised? I mean, is there something that
Uh,
works for all of them? Is there one particular favorite you have for one type? I mean, I know you guys
uh,
got to do some cooking.
yeah, our favorite rabbit is smoked, man. Smoked in
Oh
the
yeah.
Bradley. There was a place we got a seasoning, so I'm pretty sure you can get it at Sam's Club, but
Okay.
we went snow goose hunting down in southeast Missouri. I
Mhm.
can't remember the town it was, but we were down there one year and we were going to go there. It was one of we used a guide service and it was one of their stops every year. So
Right.
we got down there the one year we were looking for something to eat and we had this big fella that used to go with us. Like I'm 6'5", 240. This dude's like, oh, maybe 5'8", like 350, 400. Like he can eat. Like
Right.
so he's scoping out restaurants on the way down, of course, because he's hungry. And he's like, oh, there's this barbecue joint like 25 miles away. Let's go there. It's got like these awesome
Right.
reviews and everything. So we go to this little podunk town in southeast Missouri. And this dude owns everything in the town. He owns the bar, the supper club, like
Mhm.
everything down Main Street. His name is
Yep.
Strawberry. And so we go in this place and we sit down and like I had never really had a lot of I had a lot of ribs and I wasn't a huge fan of dry ribs. Like I was a sauce guy. Like that's what I grew up on. And
Right.
so
Right.
I was like, I gotta try these ribs because that's what it says. And we're this like smoky bar because they could still smoke in the bars there. We couldn't in Minnesota. And like it was just like cut the smoke
Yep.
in like small town, like 4 guys sitting at the bar, like old timer regulars, you know.
Oh
We
yeah.
order these ribs. They bring them out.
The whole town's like a freaking little hole in the wall bar. Right.
Dude,
Right.
I ate these ribs and I was like, these are the best fucking things I've ever had in my life. Holy shit. And so I'm like, these are awesome. I ordered a second rack and ate them. I'm
Woo.
like, these are
Nice.
awesome. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, I wonder if they sell the seasoning on this. This has got to be something good because I'm reading
Right.
in the menu. This dude was like Missouri State barbecue champ and all this shit.
Hmm.
And then he came
Like if
here
he's
to
not
Missouri.
selling seasoning, he should be.
Yeah, so I go up to the bar and I was like, "Hey, you sell the seasoning on here?" And the guy outside the bar goes, "Yeah, yeah, we do." He goes, "I make it." I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm Strawberry."
Nice.
So he's sitting at the end of the bar drinking beers.
Damn.
So I started bullshitting with him and everything, and he had it behind the bar. You could get a big shaker of it, so I brought some home. Man, that shit on rabbits. We went there every year. I would buy 3 big shakers of this shit, and then he said the one year he's like, yeah, you bring back your empty containers, I'll just fill it for you. I'm like,
Damn. Nice.
but yeah, we put this shit on rabbits. It was actually a pork barbecue seasoning. We put it on the rabbit and
Hmm.
smoked the rabbit. Oh my god, dude, it was
Oh, I
unreal.
bet
It
that's
was
great. I
absolutely
bet.
unreal.
Yeah, most stuff that works on pork works great on chicken, which means it works good on rabbit. You know,
Yep, yep.
that's
And
awesome.
then
You guys still be able to? Can you still get that shit, or is it? Was it like
I
a
don't like we didn't go down there. I stopped going on the trip. It was kind of just like
right?
I'd done it. Like you shoot enough snow geese, and I did it for like 8 or
Yep.
9 years in a row. And I'm like, yeah, I just don't need to drop the buck. It was like it was a
I
ton
get
of
it.
money to go every year, and I
I'm
was just
sure.
like, yeah, I don't have the time. like,
Right. Right.
so I don't get it
Oh,
anymore. I'm pretty sure he said you could buy it. We were at Costco. We didn't have Sam's. We had Costco, so we didn't go to Sam's Club. But I was
right.
pretty sure he said you could get it at Sam's Club. But I always just
Oh
pick up my
shit.
yearly supply when we were down hunting.
While you were there, that's how I was with barbecue. Like growing up north, down here, like the dry rub on ribs and stuff. That is definitely more the thing. And briskets, that's a huge Texas deal. But right there on the river, Iowa, Illinois, there's I don't know if you ever heard of Cookies. As far as barbecue sauce, they've got some good
Yeah,
shit.
yeah, yeah.
If you don't like it's not spicy like everything down here spicy, which I love, but not everybody does. But it's good, sweet, savory.
Hmm.
The last time my dad came down and visited, he brought like 5 gallons of it for me,
Oh,
and
nice, nice.
I think I'm through it now. So it's been a few years since he's been down here. So, but I was gonna say, if you figure out the name on that, shoot it to me. I'm curious. I'll order it if I can and try it. But
Sure.
the other thing is, if it's not something you can get a hold of, and you got some, I know people that might be able to kind of
Oh, it's
reproduce
gone.
the
It's
recipe.
no, we use
I
every
got
bit
you.
of it.
Because the folks I'm working with now, I'm doing the spice stuff with. I give them my recipe and they make the stuff. They were like, "Yeah, no, or if you're using something else right now, that's our thing. You can give us some of the spice and we'll copy it. We can make it work." I'm like,
Oh,
"Really?"
nice.
They're like, "Yeah, no, we'll sit down and we'll fuck with it till we get it to work." I'm like, "Okay, cool." So I
They
can
got
pretty
tasters.
much get stuff made the way I want it, which is cool as shit. It's just there's a price for entry, so we're playing with that. But yeah, I was gonna say if you got something good like that and you can't get it, let me know. We might be able to find a way.
It
Well,
looks like he sells it on his website.
well, good, sweet. Shoot that to me.
I
I'm
just went
curious
to his
now.
website.
Well, I'd hope so. If he's still alive and doing that stuff, and he's not selling it on his website, and it's that good, you probably ought to get him selling it on his website and tell him like to
Well,
take
I
lightning.
contacted him at one point.
Yeah.
When I got back, I was like, "Dude, I could sell this shit with my
Oh
chicken
yeah.
or my rabbit." And I
Yeah.
contacted
Oh, I
him about
bet.
doing distribution, and
Like
it
sell
was just it
packs.
was
Oh.
yeah, it was just a shitload of strings you had to jump through, and
Yeah, that's the hard part. That's the only reason that I have a company and they're local to me. They're like just down the road from me, and they have a full spice distribution. They do everything in house, but they've got all the licensing and the stuff for resale. They ship nationwide. They've got everything ready to go, and they do fresh batch, grind it, ship it. I've used them for years for all the deer stuff I do. Really good results. Everybody loves the stuff. I doctor it up myself with my own recipe, but I get all my stuff from them. So when everybody started harping on me, like, "Hey, you should do a seasoning blend," I'm like, "Yeah, I'm going to have them do it because they can actually set it all up, package it, have it done for resale the way I want. And I don't have to fuck with the red tape because
yep,
I ain't got the patience. I've got enough red tape with my other stuff. If I want to do seasoning, I want it done and I can sell it. So
yep,
we're working on
yep.
that
If
too.
they ship
Well,
it,
hey,
even better.
yeah, they will if it's like a big enough order. So if it's like
All
onesie
right,
twosies or I'm going to a festival or something like that, that's fine. I don't mind doing it. If it's like
that's the kind
website
of stuff
stuff
I'm
I'm
picking up.
doing, I'll probably handle it. But if somebody wants to order, I have a friend in Southern Oklahoma and setting up a mobile processing thing up there. Just got licensed with the state. And one thing, because they're doing it that day, one thing they can do is pan sausage. They're not going to sit and smoke the stuff, but breakfast
Right.
sausage, you can just mix that in, package it, sell it to them. And they've been doing that like ultra source stuff. And she's like, "Look, everything is either expensive or it sucks. If you can
Yeah.
produce a good seasoning, I will buy it from you in bulk if you don't mind selling to another butcher." I'm like, "Oh, fuck, twist my arm. No, you can run around out there processing people's animals. And the only thing I ask is you tell them where you got the seasoning. I don't
Right.
care.
Right.
I'm
Right.
not going to be mad that you
So that when
buy
they
from
want
me.
some steak,
I'll
so when they
totally
want some
give you a
steak
bulk
shake.
price. Right? I'm like,
Yeah.
I will give you a bulk price. Yeah. Oh, twist my arm. You might be the reason I get this thing off the ground faster. Come on. I'll send you a
Right.
sample as soon as I have one. So we've been playing with that. But well, hey, I guess since we're a minute and 22 in, let me go back to the questions we actually managed to get from our lovely audience on Telegram in the chat. If you're not in the Liberty Meat chat, you should be.
You should
You're a
be. It's a fun
slacker if
time.
you're not. It's fun. It's a great time. All right,
You
let's
can
see
join
here.
my chat too. We're both
Yeah,
messing around with
you
lightning.
totally
So
should.
do you have a faucet going in
Yeah.
yours? Because I got a faucet in mine if you want to join mine and get
I
some
don't
lightning.
remember if I still have a faucet going, but I should be. If not, yeah, go on over to the Lots Project chat. I actually put the link to it to the Telegram group in the YouTube show notes, and it should be in everything else when I get it out there. It's on Facebook, it's on all the things. And go find his stuff, get on there, and start some free lightning and Bitcoin lightning. It's real Bitcoin. It's just tiny little bits you can tip with it, and it doesn't cost you anything. Play with it. Send us some tips. Send some other people some tips. Don't send us tips, but learn how to use the shit.
Send
It's
other
useful.
people tips.
And you're right. Or if you feel like buying something and getting something back for it, go to renegadebutcher.com. Buy a t-shirt.
Oh, you
You
can
can
use
buy it in
crypto at my
lightning, even
site.
if you
All you
don't
gotta
have
do is
lightning
email me.
now. Yeah, exactly. Talk to him. He'll sell it to you in lightning too, but get some practice with it because it's Okay, right now you're taking your money from your paycheck and you're holding it in something that loses value constantly. You're holding a piece of the US debt. If you put it in Bitcoin, you're holding something that accrues value over time. Yes, it goes up and down like every other fucking thing on earth, but it's actually a piece of value instead of a nothing. Only that is what you have when you have $1 in your pocket. So this whole system is going to end up collapsing. Get with the system that's not and learn how to use it. Anyways, what'd you say?
That can't collapse. It's math.
It probably my end, but they can't collapse. Exactly right. Well, yeah, and mathematically, think about it. Bitcoin is capped. There's only going to be so much Bitcoin in the world ever. So that means it's always going to be worth more. It's always going to be more in demand. Even gold, we might find a new strain of gold and mine it out, and there's more supply.
Yeah, there's rare
US dollars. Well, we just make more supply when we feel like it, so it's worth less. Yeah, well, there are uranium. I mean, I'm not going to trade uranium, but hey, if you want to,
are you a Clinton?
We've gone with that forever, but I should circle back. Well, no, I don't think so. I hope not. Oh, you never know. All right, pretty beat chat. Let me cycle back. Which I will be interviewing here coming up, and I'll post all that stuff once we have everything fully ironed out. I think we do, but my calendar is not. What's your favorite way to cook rabbit chicken? And I already asked you that because I'm a jackass, and I totally did not look back at the comments before I did that. But you were talking about the barbecue seasoning. I'm sure she's going to be super interested to hear about it. But what are you looking forward most to at SRF, at the Reliance Festival?
Oh, Self-Reliance Festival. Yeah. Meeting people. Actually meeting people and shaking hands and putting handshakes.
Anybody in particular, or just everybody?
Everybody. Nate and Aaron, Ken, Carrie Brown, a lot of the people that are going as spectators, but I also hope to listen to Ken Berry and Jack speak, and Nicole and John Willis, and watching the presentations. But I think just the meeting the people and interacting in person is so powerful, and just so yeah, that's the thing I'm looking most forward to.
If my experience from just Float Fest is like anything, especially, I can't speak for everybody else, but most of these people are really down to earth, and Jack especially too. It's not just going to be listening to them. You'll get to interact and talk and JK some bullshit. And I gotta feed Jack Spirko, and like that was my fanboy moment. So you know, I mean, honestly, that fucker's the reason it even ended up in this space, ended up down here, ended up homesteading, ended up starting a business. Yeah, there's a lot of inspiration coming there. So that was pretty cool for me. But super down to earth, like the normal people. And that's the best thing about events like that. Into a festival or an event or like a freedom type thing, go, because these people you listen to and you get all these ideas and you know, inspiration from listening to day to day as they ramble about their thoughts. They're real people who will take your hand, and it's pretty damn cool. And it kind of brings everything into perspective, though, knowing it's not this unachievable thing. This is a salt of the earth person who's doing what they say, and that's kind of the best part to me. I'm over here trying to answer your question, and I don't need to. But let me pull up your no, just my little add-on to it. But I think that would be super cool. That was for me going to festivals. That's why I would love to go to Self-Reliance. Nicole Sauce, that's one I'd love to meet, and I've never really had a chance to. I love what she's got going on, and I know you two, and you and Amy Digman, you guys know each other, right?
Yeah, she's like 30 miles from me.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, she's cool as shit too. She's I've talked to her online off and on for a couple of years, but
yeah, she's fun. I'm actually gonna take some comfrey to her place.
Nice, good. She needs it. I think everybody needs that. I've had comfrey in my life since like I was a kid, because my grandpa was a huge gardener, and so I just take it for granted. But I forget how many people don't know. And I was selling comfrey sab at Float Fest too, and And people were like, "Oh, what
Yeah,
is that? What's it do?" I'm like, "Seriously, dude, it fixes everything."
yeah. I sold that for a while. It's a self-serving gift though, because I've talked to her and I
It
said I'm going
is.
to bring you some huge plants, and then when I get established, when I buy a property, I need you to cut root cuttings and crown cuttings and send them to me, so I can have the same comfrey I had here and reestablish it at my
Battery,
new
you're
place.
you're my story, right? Right. That's just called sustainability. You know,
Well, then
that's
she gets the
sustainability through
plant.
community. So yeah.
Yeah, she gets the
Oh
plants. It's like
shit.
seed scaring.
Yeah, pretty much. Oh shoot. Okay, so Erin also asks, she's the rock star with comments and questions. Is, what are you most excited about going on the road in the RV? What are you most nervous about?
Most excited and looking forward to is just getting the hell out of Minnesota and
Yeah.
being on the road's really nice. I really enjoy living in the camper, even when it was in the driveway. It's just like you're closer to the outside, and that's kind of where I'm at in my life. Is I just want to be in nature
Right.
and not in a house
Yep.
and sticks and walls and all that. And
You mean in the real
so
world?
that's what's that?
You mean in the real world? Like the
Out there.
real world, not
Yeah,
what we call
not
the
the
real world.
metaverse,
The
not the
Yeah,
metaverse.
the actual real
Yeah.
existence. Yeah.
So we had originally, before we decided to move into the camper, we were gonna go build a yurt in Idaho up in the mountains in the banana belt there, and so that was kind of like going away from the normal structure. I'm really kind of transitioning into this round and curve phase in my life where I don't want to be in a square building. It's just this thing I've been thinking about for a
I
long time that
understand.
just
I
popped in
get
my
it.
head. So
So is it a
yeah,
round camper?
no, it isn't, unfortunately, but it's a means to an end.
No,
The
where's the
front, the front,
Airstream? Come on
the
now,
front
you
end
know?
is round,
Oh, there you go. There you go. That's great. But no, I
and that's
get it.
my
I
room.
totally
I
do.
live in the
I
round
do. I
room.
spend as much time out, and if there's not trees over my head, I'm not happy. I figured that out
Yeah,
about myself. So
yeah,
yeah, I mean, you do what you have to do, but
yeah.
that's
Corey told
that's
me
that's
this
the place to
morning.
be.
Corey told me today. She's like, yeah, I'm really looking forward to being a little warmer in the morning so I can start doing my yoga outside again. I'm like,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Where
I get
7, 8 months of the year it's not so cold, you need like multiple
it.
layers to even exist
Your
and not have
snowsuit.
frostbite. Yeah, exactly.
Dude, down
I
the
don't miss
dog. You look
those.
like the kid from A Christmas Story, just waving in the
Right.
snow.
I mean, there is a trade-off. You can only take when to close off
Yeah,
when it's hot, but at the same time, I would rather be a little bit hot a good portion of the year than be goddamn cold like that all the
you
time.
never warm
I
up.
no,
Yeah.
no, and I am not a thick frame guy, so I just there's only so much I can do.
So most nervous about doing
Oh,
it is the unknown. Um, the fuel costs going up, like the things I've seen happen.
mhm.
Like we started doing this before COVID. So watching all of that progress and watching all this progress as we're trying to make plans to
Yeah,
leave our security here has been kind of daunting. And that's why we're kind of doing a lot of contingency planning and
that's
figuring
got to
out
be
what to
stressful,
do.
I'm sure. You're like you're stepping out of it, so
Yeah, yeah. I kind of want to be in areas that
yeah,
I kind of know at least
well,
a few people.
right, right. Well, that's the nice thing about the design thing is you've I'm sure built a network that's kind of nationwide, if not above beyond
Yep,
that, to where
yep. And I
you
have
got
skills.
people. So
Yeah, yeah. I have
right,
skills. I'm not going to
right.
show up and be a load on you. I'm going to be a benefit to helping you
Oh
and
yeah, there's that too.
helping you thrive.
And I've told a lot of folks that too, and kids I've trained and worked with too. And if you've got a good usable skill, you've always got that. It's always a good fallback. Like I've had folks that have shown up and just learned like in a season, they're like, this is not what I wanted to do, but I'll debone deer from you. Teach me. And that's fine. But I was like, if you learn how to do this and do it well, no matter where you go in the country, you've got that skill and you have at least seasonal work.
And
It's
food.
there. It's you can benefit. You can right. You can take that skill and turn it into something beneficial for you or to others and get a net thing back from it. So even if you go somewhere else, you're not wasting your time. You don't have to be a career butcher
Right.
to learn how to bone a deer.
Yep.
That's a value. Or even if you just want to do it part-time. I started doing it. I ended up in a career doing it because I guess I'd be my well, anyway, I think considering we're a minute and 30 or an hour and 34 into it already, shoot, we'll probably go and wrap it up. Social media, we haven't had a ton of comments. We had one guy pop over on early on Twitch and says hello. The Jester, hello. I'm not sure who you are, and thanks for following. And then Rachel Brown had said, yeah, the Telegram stream was not working well. I noticed that. I tried to start it and restart it a couple times, but while doing the podcast, I didn't have time to really troubleshoot and figure out why on earth it didn't pick it up. Usually it does, but it'll be all right. If we miss Telegram for this one, so be it. There are no more questions that I know of, but we should wrap up with, as far as social media goes, where they find you and where should they follow you, either what you have now or going.
Sure. Let's see. Mainly, I'm trying to use Float as much as I can. It's kind of buggy right now. You can find me really on Telegram. If you're on Telegram, you can find me there. I'm in a bunch of different chats. But my chat is t.me/LotsChat. That's t.me/LotsChat. Yeah. thelotsproject.com is it has all my social links on it. I'm the Lots Project pretty much everywhere. If you search it anywhere, you can find it. Our YouTube channel is our old farm name, Happy Hills Homestead, but if you search the Lots Project on YouTube, it comes up with our stuff because I have playlists and all sorts of videos with that in the name, so it just auto populates if you search it. So yeah, you can find me. I'm pretty easy to find and get a hold of.
Nice. And for me, found this channel, you probably know where, but you can find me on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, all of the places or whatnot, but go to live.libertymeat.solutions, and that's kind of got everything link there. So that's your what you want to check out with what we have going on with the merch, with the seasoning stuff we're launching. And, if you got any questions on it, let me know. The main thing I want to do with that is, I want to get the seasoning started up. I want to get it going. I'd like to offer that, but I want to try to get people to start using Lightning. Yes. Check out up there. That's right. That's the corner. Check out the Lightning tip up that way. You could, if you want to come on Telegram, if you're in the groups, there's ways to tip there too. Let us know. We'll even throw some sats at you to get you some practice and learn how to use it. We were doing the same thing the other day, and Nate Lemaster from the Two Chicks Homestead, he was just getting his Lightning wallet set up and wanted to learn how to do it. Me and Brian were helping him out a bit. And once he got that linked to his cache of Bitcoin, he brought some over and gave us both a really nice, generous tip, which was awesome because we helped him out. And that's exactly what it's for, to be able to kind of, pass that around and appreciate value that others offer. So if you find value in what we got going on, either of us, let us know. And you're
bring
more
value to the
tip
conversation.
If we find value in stuff you're doing, I can promise you I'm going to tip. So that's just how it is. I meant to talk to you this before we talk to you about this, pardon me, before we started the stream off. But if you get a chance, shoot me a Lightning address that you want used. And when this goes up on Anchor, and it'll go up to fountain.fm.
Yep.
I will set that split up and have a cut of it go to you. So if you're tipping me for this podcast on that episode, a portion of it's going to go to the guest as well. And I think that's the fair way to do it. They've showed up and spent their time and gave their wisdom and everything like that. So it's a good way to do it. But yeah, you can find all of my stuff following those links. You can find his stuff following those links. I just now today, thanks to somebody asking me about it and reevaluating it. Last I looked, I wasn't able to actually do any of the Amazon affiliate stuff, and they've changed it. So now, as long as I confirm 3 sales in the next 180 days or whatnot, I can stay on the program and make money for offering or recommending stuff I've tried. I'm not going to go and just recommend stuff, but I wanted a new coffee grinder. I've wanted it for a while. I got this little bad boy. I made a video of it the other night. I haven't turned it on or anything, but it's USB charge, USB-C. It's slow. It's really slow. That's one of the selling points, supposedly. If you slow grind coffee, I guess there's less of a chance of it overheating and you losing some flavor. Hand grinding, I think, is a whole different ballgame. But if you're lazy, this thing supposedly, we're going to find out, and I'll let y'all know, does 8 to 10 charges, but it's USB charge right on the top. You pop the bottom off. You can adjust your grind right there with a nut. I've got 2 ounces of Food Forest Farm coffee in here, and I promise it's going to take it longer than the rest of this broadcast lasts. That's how loud it is right there. And it just runs. So I'm going to sit it down here and let it grind my stuff so I can set up cold brew for tomorrow morning. And I put a video up on YouTube the other day with that thing running. It took about 8 minutes to grind a whole thing of it, whatnot. But since it's USB-C, you could grind it, or you could charge it, your grinder, mobile in a vehicle or from wherever you want to charge your phone. And you set it down for 8 minutes or whatever while you cook you warm up your water. It's the right size to fit in like a cup holder in a vehicle. So I like that part too. And I'm not saying it's the best. If it sucks, I will update it and let y'all know. But I posted the link for it with my affiliate stuff. So maybe I'll make a cut. I don't know. It's in the YouTube link, and I'll put it up on the other stuff too. And I posted a YouTube video. Same thing I sent to Brian the other night with it running. And it takes forever, but 8 minutes, while you start your water and take a shit, it works in the morning. So,
Perfect.
Anyways, I'm going to shut that thing off so it's not just super loud during this, but I'm going to let it run when we finish this up and put it in my
question over there. Rachel asked, I asked any idea how to get rid of poison sumac, and
oh shit, yeah,
I've never had to deal with it. I've
not had to deal with sumac. I've had to deal with poison ivy and poison oak, and it's really bad out here. And there's the only thing there are 2 ways that I know of, and they both have problems. The main way is something like Roundup or 2,4-D. I don't recommend that. It's the last
goats
thing I would do if there's nothing else to eat. But they're kind of like goats with wings. And if the problem with that is if you let them into the area with it, if it's growing up in your garden, you're not going to have a garden. Right. So I think the best thing you probably can do is like maybe sheet mulch every year. And if you see stuff out there, get gloves on, pull it up, get rid of it. The sooner you do, the better. It's got a hell of a root system and it takes off. Around here, I don't know about sumac, ivy, and oak. The birds eat the seeds. And if it's nowhere nearby, it doesn't matter. They're going to shit it out. It's going to grow there. And I've gotten overgrowth of it this year. I don't know what to do about it yet, but it's a pain in the ass. It's constant work. And the best thing you can do is hope you're not like sensitive to it when you have to deal with it.
Yeah, I'm not sensitive to it, but don't burn it. We had a relative that burned it. They inhaled the smoke and their face like just blew up like a balloon.
It's bad. It's bad. Even if you're not sensitive to it, from what I understand, the more you're exposed to it, eventually your body can finally just flip its shit and go, nope, no more. And you could become sensitive to it. So I avoid it when I can. I've never reacted to it, but I don't want to be like 70 years old and have an anaphylactic shock situation because I touched poison ivy and didn't know it was a problem. So I avoid it. And I do know, even if you're not sensitive, that urushiol, I think is the chemical that's in it. When it's burned and it's inhaled, what the inside of your lungs absorb things from plant smoke a lot better than everything else on your body. So try not to do something stupid.
Dig it all up.
If I see poison ivy in mulch or like on firewood, I will not burn that shit. I will just compost it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Anyways, hold on. She posted something up here. Yeah, can you put up the affiliate link after I bought it already? Yeah, you're right. And Rachel, thank you for being the one to actually bring that to my attention and make me think about it. A couple years back, I actually, my main business is pasture to plate processing. When I first started it off, I had so many folks that wanted me to do the educational stuff. I got excited because everybody's doing podcasts and I like all the podcast people and I'm going to do a podcast. And I started it right before like deer season. So I was slammed as far as work goes. And I got like 6 or 8 episodes out. That was about it. So I looked into it at the time to do the Amazon affiliate stuff, but you have to have, at least back then, you had to have a certain minimal level of followers confirmed on social media to really be considered. Apparently the barrier for entry is a lot lower now. It's just like sell some shit and we'll confirm you and you're good. So
Yeah, the
now
payout's
I'm
a lot
on
lower,
board.
too.
Yeah, well, I imagine so. But you know what? It's better than nothing. If I'm going to mention a product and say, I think it's decent, I'd rather get a little bit from it than nothing. So I'm going to mention the product either way. That's just, I'm going to talk about it. So I started it up, and thank you for making me think to go back and look. So yeah, if anything, I probably owe you a little bit.
If it was lightning, you could split her in.
I mean, I'm telling you, now if we can get Amazon affiliate stuff to do lightning payments, we'll be on to something. We'll really be on to something. So
you could take your 0.2% and split it to 0.1.
Oh shit, yeah.
1.
Right. I could make even less for talking more. It'd be great. Nah, that's fine. No, I mean every little bit counts, and I do appreciate the fact that Rachel actually asked and said, "Hey, I just gonna go ahead and buy that. I hope you get a cut from it because it seems like a cool product." And I'm like, yeah, no, unfortunately, I'm not cool enough to be able to play with their affiliate program. And apparently I just didn't know. It's a self-confidence thing, really. I mean,
yeah,
I guess I need to work on that.
we did that. We do that. We have a decent account that we're getting better at doing it.
Right.
We did a lot of written products. Corey has a huge following with the dogs, with Baby Walter and company, and she does pretty decent with recommending the dog products with her background.
Kind of the easy button when it comes to social media stuff is have a cute pet. You know,
I have 3 of them.
Right? I don't. Maybe I need to figure that out. I don't know. We need to have a duck in here with me or something. Who knows? But no, everything you guys are doing over there is cool as shit.
Naked necks in with you.
Oh yeah, totally. I have a chicken sitting here with. I had a rooster. It was a bantam. He wasn't naked neck, but it was a bantam for a couple years that lived in the house with me, and he was named Jack after like the monkey off Pirates of the Caribbean because he liked to hang out on my shoulder all the time. Yeah. He was the last surviving rooster I had from a whole pen that was killed by a snake middle of the night. Like I said, snake got in the pen, ate a bunch of freaking eggs and couldn't get out. And I think the hens pecked him and he just decided to constrict and kill every freaking chicken in there. 2 a.m, I go out there with a gun because I hear the chickens just making a racket. And nope, he was the only one left. And he was all traumatized. I kept him in the house for a while, nursed him back to health, and he hung out with me. It was 3-4 years later. He finally kicked the bucket. But yeah, I had him on I was doing online karaoke crap for a while. It was ridiculously stupid, but a couple beers and sing with a bunch of people online. And I'd have a chicken sitting on my shoulder. Yeah, I know. Oh God, what a glorious life I'll lead. Anyways, I think we'll probably wrap this stuff up and call it a night. I know it's almost 2 hours in here, and I'm sure you've got to work in the morning. I've got to too, but we appreciate everybody being in here and hanging out with us. I see Rachel's talking about renting goats, and please don't bonus plants. I agree with you wholeheartedly there. If you guys want to continue to chat or anything like that, show up on Telegram. We've got the Liberty Meat chat. You got the Lots chat. And those links are all up there. Really cool groups, real cool group of people. And you can check out if you want to see me and Brian more. I've got some links. If you go over to live.libertymeat.solutions, there's you go down to the bottom, you can see it says as heard on or as seen on, and you can hit read more, and it shows all the episodes stuff that I've been on lives or podcasts with people too, with him as well. And we've had a couple episodes of the after party, sort of like the Vault from the Unloose Goose podcast, and other people have been kind of brought into it, but mostly people talking around bullshitting and hanging out. But if you want to learn a little bit about lightning, if you want to learn about some of the oddball stuff, or just sort of low types of listen to, pretty cool. And check it all out. If you like what we do, and tip us. If you don't, that's fine. I don't care. We're going to keep doing it. And hope you'll have a good one. Hang out there, and you know what? Be free.